塩焼きもいいんじゃないか？
ええ、いい具合ですね。ああ。はおいしい。
そろそろ大払えとやらの時間か。
The Warrior Princess and the Barbaric King, guys. We just got done watching episode number 7, and they almost did it. They almost did it. And what is that? What is it? They almost had an episode with no fan service, but instead we got cheeked. We got cheeked up 9 ways to Sunday. I don't know if y'all know, we got Seraphina, Marsius, and Cersei in the lake, and we got just cheeked up 9 ways to Sunday. I went, God damn. Oh my God. Ooh, ew. But you gotta appreciate it. It was subtle. It was subtle fan service, but it was much appreciated. So, you know, sometimes there's some fan service that they sneak in that's pretty good. Now, I will say like they almost got away with not having fan service, but the show is mostly fan service based in some sense. Now, this episode is mostly focused on 2 different things. One was clearing out the Blight. One part was Blight, which is clearing it out, restarting, and then what effects the Blight has. Apparently with Marsius, Marsius, I'm gonna call her Malicious. I know, don't come for me. I know there's no L in her name, okay? I get it. Sounds better though. I'm gonna go Malicious. So our girl Marsius, she can't remember past 16 now. Which could be before 16, but she knows that she was from an orphanage, and that's where she got her name. And because of the orphanage, right? Usually orphanages, even now, not as much now, at least not in America, but in a large part of the world, a lot of orphanages are funded through churches, right? Like the church has a heavy hand in orphanages. Now, I'm not gonna go down that path of funding, and there's a lot of just ickiness, but there's a lot that are trying to do good. Let's just focus on that part there. So that's purely why she basically donned the robe, and that's why she believes what she believes, because that's kind of where she was growing up from. But right now she can't remember prior to 16. Again, that was an effect of the Blight. So they cover her a little bit, which that's kind of like the second part of the episode, which that's like the number 2 is the malicious stuff. But the most effective part was the Blight, and Seraphina got emotional a couple times this episode because, you know, it was Veor and all the different barbarians, which at this point, they're just people of the West. But, you know, the barbarians and the elves and the dwarves and the spirits and the fairies and the fae, they were basically clearing the Blight, and then they were restoring the forest. And Vior's explaining this to Seraphina, like, you know, this is really important for us, for our children and our grandchildren and their children, etc., like to have a culture where we work, you know, coinciding with nature, basically. Like it's a really important thing. So, you know, he goes over it and they restore it along with one of the main elves, and they have that whole entire, you know, like planting session where they plant all the different trees and stuff that are gonna come back in a little bit later on, which is really cool. And Seraphina participates in it, and she's like, I can't, you know, it's hard to imagine that, you know, girls of the East doing this. And Marsius does it too, right? And Cersei does it, and it's just a really cool moment for all of them to share. So I really like the Blight stuff and the education that they kind of put forth for us as viewers as like a peek into the dynamic and the way that the Blight works and how they eliminate it and how they restore from it. And what the Blight causes, which is like that dust, and, you know, basically like it just destroys the land around it. So I thought that was really cool. The other part of the episode is really just focused around Marsius, and what is she going to do at this point, right? Like, they have her bathe with them, right? Because she's been stinky, and they keep showing her like the way of the land and the way the barbarians live. And the elf looks at her scripture, and it's basically, this is a farce. Like, this is like a drip down version of like other spells, and this is not what, like, the spells and stuff that she has in there are not their intended use and stuff. And I thought that was interesting as well too. So anyways, all that is really good. So at this point, it's like, what is Marlicious gonna do, right? Like, is she going to intertwine? Is she going to kind of like accept? It's a big question mark, but it definitely is a interesting one. And Marlicious as a character, in some respect, is actually more interesting than Seraphina herself, right? Seraphina, warrior princess, taken in by a barbarian. She's kind of like implementing herself in the land. She's more one note, right? Like more one or two note. And Marlicious, because of her integration with or affiliation, I should say, not integration, her affiliation with the church and all the thoughts that brings and her hatred and all kinds of other things, she kind of is a little bit more diverse. The episode also did focus on Cersei a little bit, where she kind of like, again, Seraphina could put two and two together, but she kind of like, you know, outwardly says like, you know, she was a part of their lands as well. You know, so the same lands that Wisteria came from, you know, the warrior queen, whatever, that she came from, and Seraphina. And basically we're just continuing to find out that most, if not the majority of that are an offspring, basically all the women that were not offspring were basically, they migrated from the east. They were either taken, you know, clubbed and dragged to the cave, or, you know, they came willingly from the east, which is a really cool anecdote as well too. So overall, I think this episode was pretty good. You know, we got a decent fan service, you know, if that's what you're into. I know a lot of people are, which, no hate, I like fan service as well as anybody else. I think it was snuck in there. I don't think it's necessary, to be clear. I don't think it's neither necessary nor needed, but the show does like to have those like, oh my god moments that are tied to fan service, which I think it did here as well too. We got to see Marlicious, which is, you know, what is that called? Baby rearing hips is what she's got over there. You know what I mean? So someone needs to get the clubbing. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. I think this episode was a 7 out of 10. I think it was pretty good. You know, I definitely don't, a 6, you know, 6 is like, it was a fine episode. I think this was a little bit better than that. So I would give this one a 7 out of 10. I think it was a pretty good episode. And I was entertained. That's all I can ask out of any show. So, yep. That's all I got for you guys. Studio Jumanji. And yep, I'll see you guys next week for another episode as we trudge to the end of the season. All right. One love. Peace out.